Welcome to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show. Dominic, it is going to be a big Monday edition. Hell, it's going to be a big week. GOP presidential debate in Milwaukee going on the road. Coming to see you soon, my little buddy.
I can't wait, Crudy. Happy Monday to you. Nate working hard on the board. Thank you, Nate, and all you fine folks tuning in. Thank you for checking us out. Happy Monday.
Dominic, here's the great news. When the political universe comes to your backyard, comes to Milwaukee for a presidential level debate, well, it brings out, all sorts. They come out of the woodwork. All sorts of people come out of the woodwork, Tom. There's going to be a lot of political creatures of the night and the day.
And just some regular old creatures. Some political
us.
creatures. And us. Yep.
And us, I've already got a couple of big political events planned for this week, Tom. Coming down to Milwaukee, I have RSVP'd for the Democratic National Committee, their press conference in Milwaukee, about high noon on Wednesday. So I expect to be there. Now, I'll be with my pal Earl. He's the morning host on WAUK and WRJN, and up in Green Bay, WGBW. Earl's got an event at the SEIU. He's going to have DNC chairman Jamie Harrison about 9:30 in the morning. Did we mention Wednesday and this week? Big day, big week. And then the entire Civic Media crew, well, they're going to start lining up their shows in Milwaukee. A lot of them doing their shows from Whitetail, Milwaukee in the Deer District. They're going to do that from Ascos, Wisconsin, through the Town Call, through the Todd Alba Show, into the Matt Flynn Direct, and then Dom and Crew, we're doing our own thing.
The Roman Coin!
We're going to the Roman Coin. You can be a part. You can come party with us. In fact, we hope you do. I mean, if you're listening to us right now, you weren't going to sit around and watch the second-tier Republicans debate because Trump's not coming. Now it's official, right? Trump's not even coming. There's nothing worth watching on that debate stage.
Trump's a liar, so I don't believe it until he doesn't show up. But as I predicted, so far, it's looking that way.
Well, as I predicted, he still could. He still might. We don't know. We don't know. He's trolling his own party, won't sign a loyalty pledge. Clearly, he is qualified. Him and Asa Hutchinson as well, Dom, my understanding.
Qualified for the debate based on Fox News's criteria. He's not qualified for the presidency, but, that's neither here nor there.
Well, the one thing, again, Trump won't do is sign the loyalty pledge. But, Dom, it's not just Trump coming to town. I told you, I think last week, Clay Travis, righty-whitey talker, doing an event at the Pabst Theater. And you and I, we're doing our event at the Roman Coin. Again, 4 to 6 p.m. You can join us. Live party. We're partying in Milwaukee. So I'm going to start the day with Earl. I'm going to go to the DNC's event. Then you and I are going to go party. And we're going to prelude up to the big event, at least the Civic Media big coverage, 6 to 8 p.m. live from Whitetail, Milwaukee. And this event's going to include Ben Wickler from the Democratic Party. He's the chairman thereof. Bill McCoshen's going to be a part of that. My understanding, Charles Franklin, pollster extraordinaire, will be part of the lineup. And then host Todd Alba and Kristen Bry will have Rick Wilson and Trigby Olson of the Lincoln Project. So that sounds like a real radio show, Dom.
It does. Nice.
With all the stars of both Democratic and Republican stripe. We're going to do it a little differently. We're not so much trying to do a respectful, informative show as a Devil's Advocate show.
Respectful and informative as always. I mean, that's how we do it.
Well, Dom, later in the week, I'm going out. Guess who's coming to my town next Friday?
Who?
U.S. Senator Ron Johnson.
Rojo
is doing an Urban League event at 10 o'clock in the morning this Friday. I have put my name on the list. I'm pretty sure I'll get credentialed for Rojo. I mean, they've let me in before. What's the worst that could happen, Ron? Well, Dom, we'll see how things go at the Moms for Liberty event. Do you know who the Moms for Liberty are? Now, I understand the Southern Poverty Law Center has called them what? A terrorist organization.
An extremist anti-government organization.
Well, I didn't mean to overconflate their resume, Dom. They're not Hezbollah, but they're on that spectrum. Moms for Liberty, a group designated by the Southern Poverty Law Center as an extremist anti-government organization. I can see where I got that wrong, Dom. Has canceled plan for an event with presidential candidates ahead of the Republican presidential debate in Milwaukee on August 23rd, and is instead, Dom, planning to host a 3 p.m. discussion with U.S. Senator Ron Johnson at the Pfister.
The key word there being planning.
Dominic, a spokesperson for Marcus Corporation, which owns the Pfister, has not confirmed it is hosting the event. And Moms for Liberty is also linked to events the day before the debate, including school board training events at the Pfister and an evening with Riley Gaines, a former collegiate swimmer who has built a platform opposing trans athletes because she took second. Really's never gotten over it. Plans for the events have shifted. Is that what you call it? Shifted as organizers changed locations. Now, the Milwaukee Teachers Education Association and others have demanded local venues refuse to host the events. Groups like the Moms for Liberty are not welcome in Milwaukee, MTEA posted on social media. Any venue that decides to host Moms for Liberty will hear from the MTEA. Bet they will, Dom.
Crudy, Moms for Liberty previously announced it would host a town hall event with unnamed presidential candidates at the Italian Community Center in Milwaukee on August 23rd.
After the ICC? I know you like to go to the JCC. Do they call it the ICC?
Man, you know me, down by the Summerfest grounds. After an inquiry from the Journal Sentinel, Bartolotto Restaurants, which books events for the center, said it would not be hosting any Moms for Liberty event. A spokesperson for Moms for Liberty, Marley Kerr of Cavalry Strategies, then told the Journal Sentinel that she heard the event was not booked under the Moms for Liberty name. 2 days later, Moms for Liberty posted on social media that the venue canceled the event. The Bartolotta spokesperson did not directly answer a question about whether the company had canceled the event, noting only that the event would not be happening. Moms for Liberty posted, "Let's all take note of those who are pushing to silence the voice of parents in America. We will fight on. New location to be announced." As of Monday, today, August 21st, Moms for Liberty said it planned instead to hold a discussion with Senator Ron Johnson at 3 p.m. August 23rd at the Pfister, with a focus on Wisconsin's students' proficiency in reading and math.
Do you think they feel like if we bring Ron, he'll give us enough cover fire? They got to let us in. We got the U.S. Senator from the state.
Right. How bad could we possibly be? Ron Johnson's coming with us.
Well, he hasn't joined Hezbollah, but he did go to Russia on the 4th of July, Dom.
He did. And
I do question some of his decision making.
Rioters stayed within the velvet ropes. He did, attempt to facilitate the transfer of fraudulent electors from Michigan and Wisconsin to Vice President Pence on January 6th. So, yeah, that Ron Johnson giving Moms for Liberty cover. That's how bad Moms for Liberty are when Ron Johnson gives you cover. Here's what they said. "We are changing our event to better showcase Wisconsin's parental rights leaders and the alarming education data in the state. Presidential candidates and their staff, as well as policy leaders, are all welcome to attend, but we know some candidates will use the afternoon to prepare for the debate that evening."
Dom, you know where I heard Ron Johnson? Today. Down the dial on Righty Whitey Talk Radio.
Oh, yeah? He's
doing Vicky today.
Anything interesting to say, Ron?
Well, they were kind of talking about the Moms for Liberty and the fact I really, no, they were talking about the World Health Organization. And Ron and Vicky, because they were co-conspiring here, their newest thing is that the World Health Organization is trying to take over our response in case of an actual pandemic. Unlike this COVID
Unlike the last thing. Oh, yeah, right.
Understanding the source is Vicky McKenna and Ron Johnson. And they effectively are acting like Vicky's whole thing is, and before an election, they're going to roll this out where the WHO, and I don't think they anyone other than Vicky would call the World Health Organization the WHO. That's like a band, Vicky, right?
Yeah, great band, Pete Townsend.
But, I'm listening to this conspiracy theory being kicked and bantered back and forth between her and Ron Johnson. I'm like, wow, they live sometimes in a completely different reality, Dom. The most important topic today is what? How to get Fauci? How to not let the World Health Organization, corrupted by the Chinese, mind you, according to Vicky, and they're going to dictate future pandemic policies. And I didn't quite understand, but something about, if we could have only treated them all with ivermectin or hydroxychloroquine, I'm not sure which one they were advocating for. It was just a generic remedy, Dom.
I'm just wondering if it's not going to be, Fauci and Trump's federal government, that Vicky McKenna and Senator Ron Johnson trust, or it's not going to be Fauci and, the Biden administration that Ron Johnson and Vicky McKenna trust on these issues. And it's certainly not going to be the WHO, WHO. Then who exactly are Vicky McKenna and Ron Johnson looking to for advice on pandemics?
QAnon?
I mean, Ron Johnson is looking to Vicky and Vicky's looking to Ron?
They're each other's experts, Tom. It's like a self-fulfilling, friendship, conspiracy theory. Vicky's back. Big fishing trip she had. Did a little fishing myself this weekend. See that lunker I caught?
Yeah, that's a big fish, Critty. Well done. Did you eat it?
No. Catch and release, man. I'm not like that. Throw him back. Let him get bigger for next year. Come back. We're going to throw Don back, see if it gets bigger.
It was a steak, you'd have eaten it.
Devil's advocates.
I don't know if you know the Devil's Advocates, but the show is kind of a big deal.
And we are back from the 420 break. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show. You can always join us on the lines. We love it when we talk to our fair audience at 844-967-2789.
Dom, I don't want to bore the audience with small talk, but while I was, doing a little boating, doing a little fishing this weekend, you were out there with the country club set. That's not like you.
I know, dude.
Do you own a collared shirt?
I'm wearing my only golf shirt. I have a couple of collared shirts for a suit. I wore a suit Saturday to my niece's wedding. Congratulations, Adrian. But
I'm sorry, what's that? You rented a suit?
No, I actually have a couple from the old days, man. I mean, this suit's probably 10, 15 years old. But I did. I actually went out. I went golfing, and my experience in golfing over the last year or two have really been, going to like the X golf, with the screen and the bar and the bathroom, and you go out and you hack them up a little bit, and it automatically sets your ball. You hardly even have to bend over them. It's really nice, And so, Coach,
you hardly have to bend over. Please tell me more about this grueling experience you go through.
Well, that was normally. So, there's text going back and forth. Hey, let's go out again. It's been a while. I'm like, yeah. But I was doing other things, not really paying attention, and agreed to a 6:45 tee off. I'm like, oh, it's early to be at
That's
the
damn early, Dom.
I know. And I was out the night before, and I set my alarm at like 5 o'clock. I'm like, what's going on? What I found out, no, it wasn't at a bar. It was an actual golf course. I was actually golfing, like real golf. So,
was it the GPS directions that told you turn left at Country Club Drive?
Oh,
I mean,
man, no, I realized before the morning, but I was shocked. I'm up, I'm tired. I'm like, oh my god, I find my one golf shirt, find my clubs. I got a pair of shoes I haven't worn in years that are in my. All right, good to go. Get there, walk in, having a good time. Coach, can I drive in? I say hi to the guys, and never been to this course before. I had my walk in. Hey, what's the course record? Just talking a little smack, having fun. Bought a few sleeves of balls because I tend to lose them. Get out, throw my bag on the back, take off. I didn't fasten it properly, and my bag fell off the back when the cart took off. So that I had that, and then like on the 10th hole, my friends informed me that my golf shirt, my untucked golf shirt was inside out. And that was
on the 10th hole, assuming you played the first 9, right?
Yes.
You didn't start at number 10?
Gunga, gunga, gunga.
Oh man, it was. It was
I hear
a little-
that's lucky in Haiti, Dom.
it was not when I flipped the shirt around though. My back half, my second 9 played a little bit better, so that was good.
Maybe
I'll guarantee you'll never be a member here.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, if you can't figure out how the shirt works. I mean, that is a bit of a prerequisite.
I mean, it
for
was
golf.
almost it wasn't dark, but it wasn't light out, man. You know what I mean? I just woke up. I'm already late. You know, it was entertaining. I laughed a lot. It was a lot of fun.
I bet everyone in your foursome did.
It's no big deal.
Now, Skuchka, is the Ukrainian much of a golfer?
He's been on the course a little bit this year.
I've been
so
on the
he-
boat, but I've never golfed with the man.
He was better, man. And Josh, you know, crack split up because Coach is better than me. I'm the worst golfer, and then you know, so I went
Well,
with Josh,
clearly.
one of the better golfers, and Kochka and Rico are, you know, probably about the same.
Wait,
Well,
wait, you
Josh
golfed with
couldn't hit a ball, man. My buddy, this is my guy, he's my ace in the hole, he's my ringer, man, and he couldn't. It was just. But the good news is, he told me, it's like, man, I haven't golfed this bad in 10 years. This is terrible. I said, I've never golfed a better game in my life. So that was good for me. I had a good time.
Hey, how about a little something, for the effort?
Were
Thanks
you
for the lesson,
wagering?
Coach.
Were you
We were,
wagering?
yeah. I lost a couple of friendly bucks, but yeah, you know, it was all
Couple
worth
of-
it.
A couple of shekels.
Yep.
Do you have to buy it at the end of the round? Any sort of a drinking?
Oh no. Period.
Wager?
Yeah, no. I mean, drinks are always there.
How about
but-
the cart? Was there full service on the court?
There was, and I
course?
wasn't clear. So, you know, we're actually very well behaved for the first 9, and then, you know, stopped at the course, and Josh needed an adjustment, and hell, I was always ready for a drink.
Gotta loosen up my back, coach.
Right? Oh my god!
When I was your age, I would lug 50 pounds of ice up 5, 6 flights of stairs.
But there was a cart girl, and we ended up getting some later on. Very very nice Marquette grad, actually.
Did you tip her?
Of course.
Well,
Yeah,
that's
so,
good.
it was a lot of fun. You know, it's an interesting game. I don't play it a lot. I got clubs, you know, but so I have some if I need to. But I'm not a huge golfer. Let's just put it that way.
Well, you know, I've only played once all year, and I pulled some good shots out of my ass that day. But
But I wasn't
Can't-
fishing, Crudy. Well, I mean, what was that all about? I mean, you caught a big, huge fish, man. Did you weigh it? You're not stuffing it?
no, I'm not weighing it. No, I threw it back. Wasn't going to eat it. Took a picture. Took about 3, and then saw which one, which one made it look the best. Because we all have our better side. So, me and the fish, we compared notes. Oh, I'm smiling. Oh, he kept closing his eyes.
You're
But
like,
I
try the
released
other
the fish.
angle.
You know what he kept doing? Fish lips. Like the girls do in the selfies.
So hot. Yep.
No, we entertained some teenage boys, some of whom were fishermen, and I caught the biggest fish. So, suck it, boys.
So you win.
I do. Life is a competition, Dom.
No one
You
gets
keep
out alive,
score.
Crudy. We're all going to the same place, yo. Slow down.
Yeah, but those that would golf with you could get there sooner than the rest of us. Although you've never been boating with Crudy, you never can tell. I was surprised. My youngest, first time he'd been in the boat, didn't want to drive. I put him in the chair, turned on the motor. I'm like, okay, you're driving the boat. There's not a lot of skill to it, like you in golfing.
Just try to hit the ball, keep it straight, right on, right, return.
Well, very much like how we boat. Come back with us. Perhaps more politics. Perhaps, maybe we can compare more weekend notes. What'd you eat? Don't need to know. Unless you really want to tell me.
Zafiro's pizza last night and for lunch today. It's so good.
I did Ian's. A little side salad and a piece of pizza. 844-967-2789. Compare lunch notes and political thoughts.
The Devil's Advocates. Political commentary from the back of the class.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show. Big Monday edition. Big week ahead. The world coming to Milwaukee, the GOP presidential debate. Everyone coming, but Donald Trump apparently. It's too good for Milwaukee, too good for Wisconsinites, Tom. Wasn't that the complaint they had about Hillary Clinton didn't show up after she won the primary? Hope Trump doesn't live to regret his failure to visit Wisconsin.
Here's a little bit of what Trump said on his Truthy Socially, citing a CBS News poll, which perhaps we'll get into some of the details on that. But here's what he concludes as: the public knows who I am and what a successful presidency I had. I will therefore not be doing the debates. So not just this debate, I read Crudy, not any debate, and not any debate I would believe, because that man, under his fourth indictment to be arraigned, sometime between now and Friday, with 91 charges against him, he cannot open his mouth on any public setting and not put himself in further legal jeopardy.
So you think he's avoiding the debate on the advice of counsel?
Yes.
That is ironic, isn't it, Tom? First time he ever did what legal counsel told him
if you
to.
listen to Trump, that's all he does. Hey, Eastman said I could do it, so I did it. Totally legal. Best legal minds ever in the universe advising me. He's trying to hide behind that. But of course, Cheese Bro was in the crowd with Alex Jones during January 6th, one of his other esteemed lawyers. So it kind of blows up that whole thing. But it's Donald Trump not going to this debate. And based on what I'm reading here, I would imagine if he's concerned about legal liability, he wouldn't go to any debate.
Well, Dominic, Joe Biden came to Milwaukee last Tuesday. I had the opportunity to attend, and I told you that day all the political stars all around the great state of Wisconsin, they were there. We saw the governor, Tony Evers. We saw Tammy Baldwin. We saw Gwen Moore. We saw Chevy Johnson, mayor of Milwaukee. We saw Milwaukee County Executive David Crowley. Hell, I saw Mandela Barnes. I saw a number of state senators and other representatives at the event. Josh Call, the attorney general. What about the indictments, Josh? But anyways.
I'm surprised he made it with all the work he's been doing.
The Republicans are coming to town, right? And they're looking for some stars, either on the stage, and there's not going to be any stars on the stage, Tom. There's going to be Mike Pence. There's going to be Ron DeSantis. It's going to be your boy, Chris Christie.
Chris Christie.
I have a newfound affinity. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. I'm cheering for Christie right now. But you know who else is going to be here?
Who?
Election denier Kari Lake. And somehow that is a newsworthy story, Dom, at least at the Journal Sentinel today. So I want to share it with the audience, just so you know what we're getting ourselves into this Wednesday. As Republican candidates for president descend on Milwaukee Wednesday, they will be joined by election denier Kari Lake, but not on stage. How do you know? She could do a Kanye West. She could charge the mound. No, I just have a few things to say here. Taylor Swift, you stand over there for a minute.
Right.
The former Arizona Republican gubernatorial candidate who falsely claims her election laws resulted from election fraud is coming to Milwaukee for the August 23rd Republican presidential primary debate, according to a release from her campaign. Somehow I was on the receiving end of that press release as well.
I was too. They have a note. Hey, you want to call here for interviews? Who wants to interview Kari Lake?
Well, maybe they'd forget to vet, Dom. Maybe we could call Kari Lake and have her on the show and just pound her a little bit. Maybe we could invite her out to the Roman Coin.
Go up at the bar. It'd be great.
We could have her down for a bar show. It's like a mile away from the Vicer Forum in the Deer District, Dom. Here's a quote. President Trump is the only candidate that can beat Joe Biden and save America. Colton Duncan, senior advisor to Kari Lake, said in a statement. That's why Kari Lake is dedicated to advancing President Trump's agenda nationwide. And it's exactly what she plans to do in Milwaukee on Wednesday. A unrequested surrogate on behalf of the former president, election denier, Kari Lake coming to Milwaukee because because she loves Trump that much, Tom?
So much. I mean, she's dedicated, right, to advancing President Trump's agenda nationwide. What is President Trump's agenda exactly? I mean, if we look historically, well, of course, there's insurrection.
They
right?
rigged the election in
there's-
2020 against me.
There's
That's my
fraud.
agenda.
There's gaslighting. I mean, so what exactly is Carrie Lake here to promote? Make America great again? What are you talking about? Literally, like what is Trump's agenda? Because all he's been screaming about is what? How great he is, and everybody else is what? Auditioning for a role of vice president? What policies is Donald Trump in? What should the tax rates be? What's the Well, we know what his immigration policy is. Zero, I'm sure. Well, I mean, what literally when Donald Trump, if he were, and now he's not, but if he was going to articulate what he's going to do in order to quote unquote make America great again, can you name me the top 3 things? that would
Finish the
entail?
wall and make Mexico pay for it.
You know what I mean?
I'm going to nuke the cartels, home or abroad. and I would not have allowed that tropical storm hurricane in California. I would have used the nukes. I would have turned it back at the border.
I never would have named it Hillary.
Wasn't that his plan historically? Like
No,
when
nuke a
he was going to nuke the Alabama hurricane that he projected with the Sharpie on the.
That might have been 2 separate incidences, the Sharpie and the nuking of the hurricane, but it all blends. I mean, literally, think about that for a minute. The guy took a Sharpie to an official chart and just included what he predicted or what he said was going to be. And everyone's like, "Oh, that's totally normal." I mean, are you kidding me?
I think the storm might actually go to Alabama from Florida. It's a couple of states over, but my gut tells me it could happen. Tommy Tupperville tells me could happen.
Could happen.
Now Chris Christie was tweeting out, Dom, less than a week away from the debate. And Donald Trump still hasn't said if he's got the guts to show up or not. Apparently it's official, Dom. He does not have the guts. More from the Christie tweet, though. If he doesn't, he's a coward with a yellow streak all the way down his back. Either way, I'll be there telling the truth. That's your boy Christie. Calling him a yellow-bellied coward, Dom.
Well, Crudy, once it became common knowledge that Donald Trump would not be attending, the USA Today wrote an article up on this yesterday. Christie quoted yet again, surprise, surprise. The guy who's out on bail from 4 jurisdictions and can't defend his reprehensible conduct is running scared and hiding from the debate stage. Trump, certified loser, verified coward. Christie said on Twitter. Ooh, give me more of that.
844-967-2789. I can't believe we had a good experience the other day with the unexpected. CJ was nice, so I think he's probably due for a little trolling. It's a big Monday edition. Welcome to it, CJ. What do you got for us?
Hey, CJ.
Hey, thanks for taking my call, guys. Well, this is easy. It's wise for him not to go. He doesn't need to go. He's at 60-70%. And let finally policy be an issue and Biden be an issue, because it's just a distraction that everything's happening to him from Biden's
A distraction,
record.
CJ?
It's a
4
disaster.
times indicted, 91 charges, trying to overturn the government, stealing, the top secret documents. That's a distraction to you? I mean,
Okay.
if Obama did that, you'd be okay with that, CJ?
Obama did do that. So
Really?
I don't recall
Yeah,
the
it is a
91
distraction.
indictments, but let's get back to your point just for a minute, CJ. I'm going to play along with your game. Spell out the important policies of Donald Trump's second administration. What should he be telling the people from the stage? If you vote for Trump, you get what? What's the policy?
Lower fuel costs,
How?
lower grocery costs.
How?
And drill, baby, drill. If you recall, that's the first thing he said he'd do. He'd lower energy costs for everybody like he did the first time. What was the last price you paid for gas when Trump was president?
Well, it was
Oh,
in the
yeah,
midst
I
of
know
a
you guys
pandemic.
wouldn't
Demand
remember.
was way down, and the fact that the world was kind of closed
$2.
down.
$2.28, guys. So far from the cost of this clown that's in office now, bought and paid for by China. And you didn't mention the Russian and China war strips right off the Alaskan shore. So we're safer and more prosperous with a Republican
But
in the Oval
when you say
Office.
safer and more prosperous, can you quantify that? I mean, based on what? GDP, personal income? How are you saying more prosperous? Based on what, CJ?
Inflation, you guys.
Okay,
trumpet that it's
inflation
down
is
to
something.
3%.
Sure. What else?
Well,
Is that it?
you know,
Inflation.
add the 9% from last year.
Inflation. That's
The
it.
9%. So
And they passed the Inflation Reduction Act, and now we're at like 3%
How
a
about-
year later. That seemingly
Name the
problem
country
solved. Thank you, Joe Biden.
name the country that was invaded when he was president. You can't, because it didn't happen. You know, this is a
Ukraine?
disaster and a distraction.
The
from
Ukraine
Joe
was
Biden's
invaded.
Record.
Am I wrong? Was the Ukraine not invaded?
It was further invaded
You're
under
wrong.
Donald Trump.
Not
Yes,
when
CJ,
Trump was
do we
president.
agree with that?
He kept Afghanistan stable. He kept Afghanistan
No, he
stable.
didn't. He put a
wanted out
poison
of
pill in
there, too.
Afghanistan,
But
so
he
when
listened to
when
his
Biden got in,
military
he would get screwed,
advisors.
CJ. Come on, man. You can't say that. You got to go read.
Tom,
Tell me, man. Tell me, who made the deal with the Taliban,
everybody
CJ?
that goes-
Nope, not going to let you go on that one, sir. I'm going to put you on hold. I'm going to talk for a minute, and I'm going to let you gather your thoughts. Who put the framework, the structure in for the Taliban? You go, CJ. Who? Was it Donald Trump or Joe Biden?
Not one life was lost in the last year and a
All right, so you're not answering the question, because of course it was Donald Trump, and Donald Trump specifically did. Donald Trump, like what, 5,000 Taliban prisoners go? I mean, Donald Trump laid this out there. This was a Donald Trump policy that Joe Biden inherited, right? And Joe Biden got us out, and it wasn't pretty, but we're out. So what? Inflation. That's the big thing. That's what Donald Trump's big priority will be, inflation, which is already on its way back down. That doesn't seem to be like an election winning strategy if that's all you got when the current administration is already aptly dealing with it.
Mark from the SAC, you got any policy for us, Mark?
Hey, Mark.
Still waiting for some policy.
Good Lord. I mean, asking CJ to gather his thoughts is like asking, I don't know. But,
Well, there were a bunch of rando thoughts all clumped together. When you talk about one thing, he just changes the subject.
Yeah, well, and Dom had it right all the parts. I mean, and Donald Trump, with Mike Pompeo, wrote that agreement with the Taliban, letting the 5,000 terrorists out of the prisons, and Trump would have had us out in May, as what the dictate was, I think, under the 2019 Trump surrendered the Taliban agreement, and that you got to get your facts right, CJ. The facts are something that matter. I mean that. And that it just is frustrating that somebody who claims to be intelligent like CJ is just can't get his facts straight.
I never heard him claiming he was smart.
And I'm not clear that getting the facts straight is exactly what the priority or the point of CJ's calls are most of the time, Mark.
The secondary invasion of Ukraine did happen in 2022, so I guess that would be during the Biden administration. Now, I recall the impeachment during the Trump administration because Trump wanted to leverage the defensive weapons that Ukraine might have used to keep Russia from invading. What was the favor, though? I
You
forget.
should do me a favor, though.
Oh, yeah, investigate my political rival, Joe Biden.
Like he's weaponizing the government.
Come back. More Devil's Advocates.
Kicking ass and taking names since the Wisconsin Uprising. The Devil's Advocates.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show. Always taking your calls at 844-967-2789.
So, Dom, are you even anticipatory of the big debate happening on Wednesday, or is it sort of a non-factor, non-issue, non-event, if you will?
I guess what I'm interested to see is how, of course, these second tiers, because Donald Trump is way out in front, as CJ notes, how they handle Donald Trump, how they handle the indictments and the charges and the circumstances and the record and all of that. Because I don't know how. I mean, obviously Trump is
like how many of them will defend the man, like Ron DeSantis apparently intends to, and then there's Vivek Ramaswamy, whatever his name is. Well, he'll pardon the man, of course. That's the campaign promise he's made.
Terrible. I mean,
I don't know that any of them are actually running against the man, except perhaps Chris Christie, who would like to prosecute him. But
I think Asa Hutchinson has been more critical than others. But that's what I want to see. At the end of the day, I believe the policies of the megas are pretty much in line. I'm not sure that
what policies?
Ron DeSantis, exactly. Ron DeSantis would do anything different than Donald Trump would.
I think Ron DeSantis is more authoritarian. I mean, Trump's about Trump. Ron DeSantis is about bad policy as well. I mean, Ron DeSantis went after the corporations, although, hell, let's face fact. Wasn't it Trump that started persuading, let's say, corporations right away, like, you can't go on strike, you can't move your thing off? Didn't he start tweeting at Harley Davidson Corporation?
He did at one point, I believe.
I mean, I guess that is very sort of analogous to the whole, fight with Disney Corporation started by Ron DeSanctimonious. But I think DeSantis is, worse at his core. I think Ron is, I think he's more evil. I think that he would be more malicious. I think that Donald Trump.
Come on, man. You cannot.
It's more narcissistic.
I mean, unless they're lining them up and shooting them in the street, you cannot get more malicious than Donald Trump. I mean, tell me how.
Well, if there was a candidate on the stage that I, in my opinion, had to speculate that would be willing to line him up in the streets, it'd be Ron DeSantis. I think he has got the worst instincts. Let's not forget his efforts at Gitmo. I mean, Ron DeSantis already has a record of some would say torture in his past, or at least signing off on torture. He's not a savory character. Now, Donald Trump is a coward, is a bully, is a certainly clearly has committed at minimum sexual battery, although I'd call it rape, etc. He is a bad man in many, many ways. But I don't know that he'd line him up and ever shoot him in the streets.
Really? You didn't see what was going on with January 6th? Did you happen to miss that part? You think DeSantis could call a crowd like that to the Capitol if DeSantis loses?
DeSantis has no power over the mob.
Right. So
DeSantis would use the power of the government in an authoritarian way.
Come on, man. It's not even close. It's not even close. I mean, people died, man, under Trump because Trump lost an election and he knew he lost and lied to everybody about it so he could try to protect and hang on to power.
Yeah, but they wanted to be there. They were part of his team. They're part of the cult. DeSantis is just not charismatic enough to lead a cult. But if he ever had power, real power, like power as the president of the United States, he would abuse it. He would abuse it in every way, shape, or form available to him. He and his wife, they'd sit up nights thinking of ways to abuse the power.
I mean,
I think he's worse.
Power unused I think he isn't worth it. I mean, if you have power, you have to use it. Isn't that the way it is? Use that power or lose that power.
Now, Trump pretends to be a rich, big man, right? That's kind of been his thing all his career. DeSantis has had an inferiority complex, since he was a Yale, I suspect. I think
So is Trump,
DeSantis.
man. He's just overcompensating. I mean, this narcissist. I mean, the massive insecurity that Donald Trump has within him, which will of course be exposed for the world to see. once-
are plenty big. I promise.
Come on, man. When you see the mugshot and he weighs in, and ultimately hears the clink of the cell behind him. No, I think Donald Trump has a whole lot more baggage and insecurities and all that than DeSantis does. But whatever. I mean, okay.
The man's
people-
never been
people are-
accused of eating pudding with 3 fingers.
Yeah, but he's been found liable for sexual rape, man. And he's got like another 20 other women accusing him of it. You know, he defrauded Trump University $20 million. I mean, go down the line, man. The guy takes and takes and takes and BS's and BS's and BS's and abuses. He, takes people in the circle and spits them out as soon as he doesn't. They don't do exactly what he wants, man. He's never been told no. He's always been given a pass. Born on third, thought he hit a triple. You know what I'm saying? And always had resources behind him and sycophants around him. I mean, that Donald Trump is in my personal humble opinion, and it's humble, the worst Republican president in the history of this country.
Well, no doubt. But that's just because Ron DeSantis has not been elected. Should he be elected, I think he could surpass Trump in the worst category.
He's
He'd
not
do
gonna
his
get
best.
elected.
He'd try and try down.
All right, so okay.
Well,
so
no, he
DeSantis-
won't
all
get
right, so what
elected.
else?
I
Who
don't
else?
think.
Chris Christie, my man, Chris Christie.
I don't think Chris Christie, I mean, I think he's a jerk. I think he'd be, a terrible president. But in terms of, lining people up in the street and rounding up the dissidents, no, I don't think Christie would do that.
I mean,
Now, he
look-
might block a bridge to their house.
I mean, come on, man. Donald Trump and his crew, they orchestrated a coup. And if you read, some of the charges here, what did Jeffrey Clark say? That's why we have the Insurrection Act. They threw it out there. They wanted the government to go, the Pentagon to go collect voting machines. I mean, Christopher Miller was appointed to the Pentagon after Trump lost the election. We still haven't gotten to the bottom of that. I mean, Charles Flynn, Mike Flynn's brother, was on the phone, and the Army lied about it. Man, there's a whole lot of things. I mean, come on. Pentagon put out a memo on how to deal with the crowd. You can't do this. You can't do that. You can't do this. This thing was all the way around a Trump and Republican operation that involved, I would allege, because I have not heard otherwise, Chris Miller and the Pentagon. We haven't gone down that road. So, yeah, I mean, Ron DeSantis, he's got a lot of that in him, but he's not anywhere near what Donald Trump actually has already done. DeSantis could only hope to be as bad.
Lock him up. Lock him up. No, I just think he's far pettier. I just think he's a smaller-minded man. I know it's a low bar.
I know.
It's a low bar. Come back with us, the Devil's Advocates. We only set the bar high round here, and we expect the same of you when you call 844-967-2789. Going to have fun in the Happier Happy Hour. It's a big Monday edition. Hell, all week long. Nothing but big shows.